I had heard whispers about a place on the dark web known as the Red Room. It was said to be a live-streamed nightmare, a place where unspeakable acts were performed in front of a twisted audience. The idea both repelled and fascinated me, and against my better judgment, I decided to search for it. After hours of clicking through links and forums, I finally stumbled upon a chat room that claimed to have access to the elusive Red Room. Skeptical but intrigued, I joined the conversation. The users there went by pseudonyms like Crimson Eyes and Scarlet Watcher. As I engaged in the conversation, they told me about a website with a cryptic address. They warned me that entering the Red Room came with a price, a hefty fee in Bitcoin, payable only once. They emphasized that there was no turning back once I paid, and the horrors I'd witnessed would be etched into my soul forever. My heart raced as I contemplated whether to proceed, but my morbid curiosity got the better of me. I purchased the required Bitcoin and followed the link to the Red Room. A countdown clock on the site showed that the show was set to begin in an hour. I watched in anxious anticipation as the minutes ticked away. My room grew colder and a sense of dread washed over me. The Red Room chat room was filled with others who had made the same choice, all eager, or perhaps morbidly curious, about what we were about to witness. When the countdown reached 0, the stream began, and I was met with a sight that will forever haunt my nightmares. A dimly lit room appeared on my screen, adorned with red curtains and eerie shadows. In the center of the room was a bound, terrified figure, their face concealed by a grotesque mask. A menacing figure dressed in black emerged from the shadows. Their face was obscured, and they wore a crimson robe that billowed like blood in the dim light. The figure began to speak in a cold, emotionless tone. "You have all paid the price of admission," the figure intoned. "Now you shall bear witness to the depths of human depravity." What followed was a horrifying spectacle of torture and suffering. The victim, whose muffled screams pierced the room, was subjected to unspeakable cruelty. I watched in horror as the masked figure enacted a nightmarish tableau of pain and despair. The chat room was filled with messages of shock and disgust, but there was no way to turn off the stream. We were all captive witnesses to this gruesome spectacle. I felt a crushing weight on my chest, and my stomach churned in revulsion. Hours passed, but the torment in the Red Room continued without relent. I couldn't tear my eyes away, even as tears streamed down my face. I was trapped in a waking nightmare, unable to escape the horrors unfolding before me. Finally, the masked figure turned to the camera and removed their mask, revealing a face twisted with sadistic glee. They stared directly into the lens, their eyes filled with malice, as if they knew they were tormenting not just the victim but all of us watching. Suddenly, the stream cut off, leaving the chat room in darkness. I was left shaken and horrified, unable to comprehend the depths of cruelty I had just witnessed. The Red Room had revealed the darkest recesses of human cruelty, and I had willingly participated. To this day, I am haunted by the knowledge of what I saw on that fateful night. The Red Room was a nightmare beyond imagination, a place where the boundaries of humanity were shattered. I pray that you never find yourself entangled in the dark web's web of horrors, for once you enter, there may be no escape from the terrors that await. It all began when curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to delve into the hidden corners of the internet. Little did I know, this journey would lead me to a terrifying encounter that still haunts my nightmares. It started innocently enough. I had heard whispers about the dark web tales of its mysterious and dangerous allure. Late one night, when the rest of the world was asleep, I fired up my Tor browser and ventured into the depths of the internet's underbelly. My first few hours were filled with dread and fascination as I explored the digital underworld. I stumbled upon marketplaces peddling illegal goods, forums discussing unspeakable topics, and even live streams of disturbing events. But none of that compared to what I found next. As I roamed through various chat rooms, I came across one with an ominous name, Whispering Shadows. The room was devoid of any images or videos, just a black screen with a blinking cursor. Users had cryptic usernames like Voidseeker and Nocturnal Soul. I hesitantly joined the chat and typed, "Hello?" Almost immediately, responses flooded in from the darkness. They were unsettling, filled with cryptic messages and eerie symbols. I couldn't help but feel a shiver run down my spine. One user, Dark Oracle, stood out. Their messages were different, almost poetic. They spoke of an ancient ritual that allowed one to communicate with the spirits of the dark web. My curiosity got the best of me, and I asked how it worked. Dark Oracle instructed me to download a file, a program they called the Shadow Caller. They said it would unlock a portal to the Forbidden Realm where the shadows whispered secrets. Without thinking, I downloaded the file and ran it. The moment the program launched, my screen went black, and the room's eerie messages disappeared. I was engulfed in darkness. Panic welled up inside me, but I couldn't move. I was trapped. Then a faint, ghostly whisper filled the void. "Welcome, Seeker of Shadows." I gasped, unable to respond. The voice continued, "You have opened the gateway. Now we shall show you the true horrors of the dark web." Suddenly, my computer screen came to life, displaying disturbing images and videos that no human eyes should ever witness. I tried to close the program, but my mouse cursor had vanished and my keyboard was unresponsive. The images grew more horrifying by the second, and the whispers intensified. They seemed to come from all around me, as if the shadows themselves were speaking. I felt a presence in the room, as if something malevolent was lurking just beyond my sight. In a desperate attempt to escape, I forcefully powered off my computer, plunging the room into darkness. For a moment I thought I was safe, but then a voice whispered in my ear, chilling my very soul. "Leaving so soon, Seeker?" I turned around, heart pounding, but there was no one there. The room remained pitch black and the whispers grew louder. I realized that I had made a grave mistake and there was no turning back. The voice grew closer, and I could feel its icy breath on my neck. "You belong to us now, forever trapped in the whispering shadows." Suddenly, the room began to fill with a dim, eerie light. I saw twisted figures moving in the shadows, their grotesque forms taking shape. The images from the dark web returned, more horrifying than before, searing into my mind like a brand. I screamed, but my voice was drowned out by the cacophony of whispers and the nightmarish visions that surrounded me. I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, a prisoner of the dark web's malevolent spirits. To this day, I can still hear the whispers, feel their presence lurking in the shadows. I'm a prisoner of the dark web, forever haunted by the horrors I unleashed when I foolishly ventured into the whispering shadows. If you ever hear of the dark web, I implore you, stay far away, for the darkness that resides there is beyond comprehension, and its secrets are better left buried in the depths of the internet's darkest corners. I had always been drawn to the macabre, the unexplained, and the darkest corners of the internet. It was an insatiable curiosity that led me down a path of increasingly disturbing discoveries. One fateful night, I stumbled upon a legend that would plunge me into an abyss of terror from which I feared I might never return. Whispers on the dark web spoke of a place called the Abyss of Eternal Desolation. It was a tale told in hushed tones, a place so horrifying that even the most seasoned dark web denizens dared not speak its name. My curiosity, however, knew no bounds, and I embarked on a journey that would forever change my life. After relentless searching and lurking in shadowy corners of the web, I received a cryptic message in an encrypted chat room. The sender went by the moniker Abyssal Sorcerer, and their message contained an ominous link that led to a website shrouded in obscurity. My heart raced as I clicked on the link, revealing a black screen with a single phrase, "Enter the Abyss." A sense of foreboding settled upon me as I hesitated, knowing that once I crossed this threshold, there would be no turning back. Ignoring my instincts, I clicked the button and the screen turned a shade of inky blackness that seemed to absorb the very light around it. I was in the abyss. A low, guttural chant emanated from my speakers, and an eerie mist began to seep from the corners of my room. I could hardly breathe, but something compelled me to continue watching. The screen flickered to life, revealing a barren, desolate landscape under a blood-red sky. A solitary figure stood at the center, their face obscured by a tattered hood. The figure, bathed in an eerie crimson glow, raised its hands, and the ground beneath them trembled. Grasping the earth, they conjured forth a horrifying vision. In the distance, silhouettes began to emerge, shambling towards the figure. They were twisted, grotesque abominations, with eyes that glowed like hellfire. As they drew closer, I could see the agony etched into their contorted faces. They moved in perfect unison, an unending legion of tormented souls. The figure in the hooded robe began to chant in a language that was neither human nor of this world, and the ground shook violently. The sky above turned a deeper shade of crimson, and the air grew heavy with a sense of malevolence. The ground split open, revealing a gaping chasm filled with writhing, shadowy forms. The figure raised its arms higher, and the tormented souls were dragged, screaming, into the abyss. I watched in horror as the figure in the hooded robe turned to face me. Its eyes, empty voids of darkness, seemed to pierce through the screen and into my soul. It whispered in a voice that echoed through the very core of my being, "You have glimpsed the abyss, and the abyss has glimpsed you." With that chilling proclamation, the screen went black and the chant ceased. My room returned to its former state, but I was forever changed. I could feel the lingering presence of the abyss, its tendrils coiled around my mind, a constant reminder of the horrors I had witnessed. To this day, I cannot escape the nightmares that plague my sleep, the visions of the abyss and its torment that haunt my every waking moment. The dark web had revealed its most sinister secret, and I, in my insatiable curiosity, had become ensnared in a terror beyond comprehension. Beware the abyss, for once you peer into its depths, it may consume you whole, leaving nothing but eternal desolation in its wake.